until they get some guys back and they start throwing the ball down the field, I still like the Browns in coming out.
Browns, interesting. I never picked the Browns. You Northern Ohio people.
Yeah, I'm all about it, man.
Like, how the Bengals are going to do it this year? To me, now I forget what we're talking about. What were we on?
And the Browns threw you completely off, man, with that pick.
It is week 3, big man bets right here for you with the Hall of Famer Orlando Pace and the 7-time Pro Bowler Nick Mangold. 2 Ohio State Buckeyes, 2 men who protected the quarterback. They're here to entertain and inform and tell you the stories from the trenches and perhaps make you some dough. Gentlemen, 3 big topics on the docket today, and as we start off the show, we're looking at who's struggling at the 0-2s and might bounce back, and who is 2-0 that, you know what, I still don't buy him. So your 0-2s, let's start there. The Jets, your Jets, Nick, the Jags, the Colts, the Giants, the Lions, you have to own them, the Vikings, and the Falcons. Does anybody stand out from those 0-2s where you're like, hey, I think there's something good coming for someone in here on a little bit of a rebound? Nick, why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, the one, and I don't want to talk about my Jets right now. They're killing me. The one that stands out to me is the Vikings. Vikings sitting at 0-2. I'm kind of shocked. I figured they would be doing a little bit better. So they have a tough game coming up this weekend against Seahawks. So that's not going to help their cause. But I still think they can be a contender down the stretch.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Nick on that. With Kirk Cousins, that team seems like, they made a run a couple years ago. Still have the nucleus of their team, good receivers, play good defense. They've fallen victim to the schedule, I think. Obviously, they got a tough one this week with the Seahawks. But obviously, I think they can, with Bears being down, obviously Green Bay, who being who they are, the Lions who they are, they have a chance to kind of make a run and get back in the mix. So out of all the 0-2 teams, I would probably agree with Nick and say the Minnesota Vikings are probably the one that you look at and say, hey, they fell victim of the schedule a little bit, hadn't played well, but their nucleus of players, obviously they can get on a roll and make a run.
The other one I'm intrigued with is the Lions a little bit. That first half against Green Bay, which killed one of my parlays, but they played well. I thought Green Bay was going to blow them out from the get-go. It took them a half to get going. So if they keep that first half and build off of that, they potentially could be another one that's kind of in the mix there.
I think I just heard some Packer shade from Orlando. Did I hear that right?
Well, I just, it's one of one. I think Aaron Rodgers was playing with us all week 1, where he didn't look very interested in playing for the Green Bay Packers. And then he come out and have a performance, threw the ball the way he threw it at home. You just don't know what you're going to get from those guys. Obviously they're going to play well, but it really rides on the shoulder of Aaron Rodgers and how he feels that week, about the game plan or whatever it might be.
I also heard some props for Kirk Cousins. Are you guys buyers on Kirk, who gets a lot of stuff thrown his way? I'm seeing Orlando, you're moving around. You're so uncomfortable with that question.
Yeah. I'm pretty hard on Kirk Cousins, man, to be honest with you. But in my friend group, we always talk about him. But, just when you look at I'm talking about the team as a whole, Kirk, obviously he's probably out of all those quarterbacks, he has the most talent around him, and they play decent, pretty good defense. So when you're looking at the 0-2 teams and what they can do moving forward based on the schedule, they probably have the most talent. The Lions, new coaching staff, everything that goes into that, they played well in that first half, like Nick mentioned, but, they have to put it together. And I want to see what Jared Goff does, obviously, as the season prolongs.
Let's look at the 2-0s. We've got 2 in the AFC, and that's the Broncos and the Raiders. Denver, both of them a big surprise, I think, at least early going here. And then NFC-wise, the Bucks, Carolina, and then the NFC West is just tough. The 49ers, Rams, and Cardinals, Seahawks also sitting there at 1-1. Any of those teams that you look at, Nick, that, you know what, they're 2-0, but they're not going to be there at the end?
Yeah, I'm looking at Carolina. Obviously one of those wins came against my Jets, which seems so far as an easy W, which is killing me. And so I'm not sold on that. I am a big fan of Sam Darnold. I always thought he had a good head on his shoulders here in New York, just kind of got stuck in a bad spot. But I don't know if it's something that they can keep going. And so it's going to be interesting, where they go, if they stick with it. I don't know. They got an easy one coming up on Thursday night. With the Tyrod Taylor being out for Houston. So, very potential they could go 3-0. So they look like, it could be legit for a while, but I think they'll peter out.
Yeah. For me on this list, I got to go with the Denver Broncos, right? So when you look at their division, you got to play Kansas City twice. You got to play Las Vegas Raiders twice. And then you got to play the LA Chargers twice. So, and all three of those teams are playing really good football at this point in time. And to go in there and say you're going to beat those teams in a tough division like that, I don't see it happening. And I like Teddy Bridgewater and what he's doing out there in Denver. But for the most part, with that division, with Mahomes and the quarterbacks that they have, the way Carr is playing, it's going to be tough for those guys to come out of that division unscathed.
We got 18 teams 1-1, including your Saints, Orlando. You look phenomenal in week one, then you lose to Carolina, who Nick's, bringing up here, 26-7. It wasn't even a game, really.
Yeah, you know what? I made that pick before I knew they were going to lose 8 coaches, and I got the news a couple of days later that they're going on the road and they lose 8 coaches, and I'm thinking to myself, I have no chance. My Saints are going to fall big time. I was riding that wave. I think Jameis, but when you lose 8 coaches, and Nick could attest to this, man. Some of those guys are probably lost out there without having that sideline presence, and some of those coaches out there. So I knew it was going to be a tough afternoon losing that many coaches. So
that's interesting because some would say that at least on game day, coaching doesn't matter as much, but maybe that's just completely wrong. I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think some players probably don't need it, but there's some players that rely on making adjustments during the game. The coaches keep an eye on what they're doing. And I think the adjustments are the biggest things from a player standpoint.
I think what gets overlooked too, a lot of times, they say that coaches aren't a big part of the game on Sunday because everything's already done. But coaches also manage people's emotions, either getting guys up or, calming guys down, and just kind of a shoulder to lean on. So when you don't have, your person there, maybe not so much, hey, do I block this guy or that guy? But more, hey, all right, let's calm down. We'll get settled. We'll get back out on this next series. We'll take care of it. That's a huge thing that comes apart on Sundays.
No, I was going to add to that, especially when you're looking at the clipboard, you're looking at the iPad, and you can just see what guys are doing. And those helpful reminders are things all players, I think, need at some point in terms of, hey, let's do it. Let's block it like this, or let's do this differently. So coaches, are needed on Sunday for the most part.
If you have an explosion on the sidelines, is that a big deal and just a sign that things are completely wrong with the team, or, hey, that's in the moment, not anything to worry about?
I think it could be both. I think there are healthy blowups and then there's also unhealthy blowups. It just kind of depends on who the player and coach are and, how they take care of it afterwards. If they let if something happens between a coach and a player and it festers and lingers, that's when it gets ugly. But when you're able to say, hey, listen, it's all part of the game. I got heated, you got heated. We're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to win. You move on to the next one. That's the best you can hope for.
Yeah, I agree. I think it depends on the scope of your team, your leadership on the team as well, and how you handle those situations. Playing football, it's an emotional game at times, and sometimes you come off the sideline and you just need a second, and that coach jumps in your face. It could be, but for the most part, coaches understand that part of it. It's emotions. Let's move on, try to win this ball game, and let's talk about it and clear the air. So I think it's not a big deal. I've never experienced anything where it was a big deal.
All right, gentlemen, let's go best of the best. Let's look at our topic too, and favorites in the NFC and the AFC. Tampa and the Rams this weekend. First time Brady's playing in LA. And let's start there. NFC Championship preview. Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, it's looking like that. I was down on the Rams a little bit at the start of the season. I think I'm being proven wrong quickly. And so, I think as you look at these two teams, Brady obviously playing fantastic. And their defense, is going to be strong. And the Rams, their defense is unbelievable. I mean, you can't stop Aaron Donald. And Matthew Stafford seems to be playing great, so it's going to be a heck of a game. I am intrigued by Brady going to LA for the first time to play a game. He's been around for so long that, you look to him, I would assume as a young guy on the team, you look to him and be like, hey, where are we going? What are we doing? What's stadium like? And for him to say, I have no idea, I've never been, has to be kind of a weird feeling.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a preview to the NFC, playoff picture, championship picture. Both teams are playing really well, coached extremely well on both sides of the ball. They're probably two of the most balanced teams in the NFL in terms of offense and defense and what they can do scheme-wise, and those masterminds between Aaron and McVay going against each other. I think those are, I would love to see that personally. I'm a Rams guy, so obviously if they get a chance to play in the NFC championship game, I'm all for it. But I think, fans in general would love to see, obviously Brady going out to LA, and then, if that's a championship matchup, because you're going to get everything you want. You're going to get high-powered offense, really good defense. It should be a slugfest. So hopefully this weekend it lives up to expectations.
Ravens and Chiefs, phenomenal game Sunday night. I don't think anybody had Baltimore coming back from 11 down, but they did it. Are we putting that as our most likely AFC championship game right now? Is Baltimore back in there in your minds? Orlando, what do you think?
You know what? Obviously, I don't think Lamar can continue what he's doing. He's single-handedly willing his team to obviously it was a tough game out in Las Vegas, but he is single-handedly running the ball. He's playing running back. He's doing it all. I don't know if he can keep that pace up for, 16, 17 weeks running the ball that way and stay healthy. So until they get some guys back and they start throwing the ball down the field, I still like the Browns in coming out of the AFC in that AFC championship game against the Chiefs.
Browns, interesting. I never picked the Browns. You Northern Ohio people.
I'm all about it, man.
Like, how the Bengals are going to do it this year? To me, now I forget what we're talking about. What were we on?
And the Browns threw you completely off, man, with that pick.
Yeah, the Browns threw me. The Ravens. So the Ravens. I don't know. I think if they do get some guys back, I love that game Sunday night had the Lamar haters and lovers both had the highs and the lows. At the beginning of the game, the haters were awesome because they were like, yeah, you know what? Lamar's trash. He's not going to do it. And the lovers were like, oh, this stinks. Why isn't he doing well? Into the game, they're vice versa. And so I thought it was awesome. I did happen to slip a quick little money line bet on the Ravens when they were down. It got up to plus 400, which I'm pretty excited about. So that was fun. Just a little taste when you wake up in the morning. And so it was an awesome game. And I think that is definitely a preview. I don't think the Browns are going to be there. But I also didn't think LA was going to be that great. So, I've been proven wrong before.
This is just super interesting that you're down on Cleveland, which, and by the way, they have the Bears this week. So that's another win for the Browns, I would think. But let's move on to topic 3 here and look at the quarterbacks. And Nick, since you're talking about Cleveland like that, are you not a believer in Baker, who's off to an incredible start, at least Baker's completing right now 81% of his passes, which is tops in all of football, which is pretty amazing. And he's also second in yardage at 10.9 per completion. So he's got some talent around him clearly, but that's an impressive start for Baker.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I'm not down on the Browns. I'm jaded by history, and I think also being a divided state where you have Bengals and Browns, I'm never going to give the Browns the credit that they should get. But no, Baker is playing awesome. He's doing very well. They still haven't gotten Odell back yet, so I think that could add another element to that offense, which is going to be even more amazing. So yeah, they're doing good things up there. I don't know where their defense is. I'm not sold on it yet. I don't know if they're going to be able to continue. And so that's going to be a watch and see for me.
I want a rebuttal from you, Orlando. I know you have it in you.
Look, I'm not a huge Baker fan. I got to be honest with you. But I do like Cleveland and what they're doing up there. Obviously, he's having a hell of a start to his season so far. And obviously, they don't have all their pieces back. Like Nick said, once you get Odell back, the talent is there. I think they have the right systems in place. I just don't see Pittsburgh's down this year. Obviously, Nick's Bengals are down a little bit this year, but young quarterback. So I think it's a 2-team race between, obviously Baltimore and Cleveland. Obviously, if Lamar continues to keep doing what he's doing, more power to him. But I just think the team that stays the healthiest, obviously, and then, obviously who has the most talent is key to there. But we can talk about, if we're talking about quarterbacks, Derek Carr, man, for what he's doing. And I don't know if that, what he's doing in the NFL now, first 2 games, he has to be one of those guys that's up top that's looking, to start the season off really strong, to beat the Ravens and then go to Pittsburgh, which is on a short week and do what he did against the Steelers is big. So one of those dark horse MVP guys, early MVP guys with those Raiders. And I'm high on the Raiders now. So, I like to see what they continue to do as the season progresses.
So just running down the odds here, Patrick Mahomes is still your MVP favorite at plus 600. Then it's Kyler Murray plus 650, Brady and Stafford plus 750, Russell Wilson, Josh Allen plus 1,200, ahead of Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert, plus 1,500. We still haven't gotten to Derek Carr, plus 4,000. Derek Carr's got 817 yards in 2 games against good competition. That's 128 more yards than second place Kyler Murray. How are you sizing up this MVP race early going here, Nick?
I love Derek Carr as a dark horse. I think there are some fantastic quarterbacks out there, guys that are playing really well. You look at Patrick Mahomes and what he's able to do, you're always going to put him up there. But the one that I'm intrigued by, I feel like they're finding their way a little bit, and I would love to ride this one, is Josh Allen up at Buffalo. He had such a great year last year. They obviously lost to the Steelers to begin with. I think he's just going to get better as the season goes on. So I think that's kind of the one that I'm going to ride with for a little while, see how far that goes.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do we judge Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers on different levels when it comes to MVP? Because they've had great seasons. Tom has done it for 20 years now. So for him to win the MVP, what would it actually take for him to win another MVP based on his past seasons? It's kind of like the Michael Jordan effect a little bit in basketball. You can give it to him every year based on what he's done. So do we judge all 3 of those guys MVP on a different scale?
I don't know. I mean, you look at Aaron Rodgers in the way that he's played, the way that he can throw the ball. It almost, when you say MVP, it's the most valuable player for your team. And so, Tom, with his experience, maybe he doesn't have to throw as many yards, but he, is clutch in the fourth quarter. Or, Aaron Rodgers, who is unbelievable, elevates his wide receivers. He doesn't have great talent, but they're still making. So when you get down to it, I don't think you can just strictly go by touchdowns, yards, completions, those type of things. You have to look at that total package and say, listen, but you also, I think, especially in Tom's case, the recency bias, you have to let go of the past 19 years. You have to look at this season and not, hey, listen, he's been doing it for so long. Let's just give it to him because he's been there.
Orlando, it sounds like you're dialing up an inequity here.
Yeah, I am. Because for me, if you look at Patrick Mahomes, now he's great arm talent, great quarterback, but he has a ton of talent. And then you look at a guy like Aaron Rodgers, who hadn't had a first-round pick at receiver in a long time. So I would give more credence to the guy who doesn't have the talent but still wins games and, obviously propels his team to the playoffs and all that. So I guess there is a sliding scale. I'm not a voter, but obviously you gotta knock some guys because talent or obviously with their past success or something like that. So, but I know it happens. So,
all right, let's make some money here. or lose some. As we look at our results from last week, Nick, your pick of the week was the Rams over the Colts, which you got wrong. Orlando, you got it right with San Francisco over Philly. Orlando, you had the upset of the week, correct, with Vegas. Nick, your upset did not come in, which was wrong. But then you had the parlay was a big time play. Congratulations, by the way, on hitting on the Colts and Buffalo, and also on New England. New England and Buffalo both winning and the Colts covering. So here we go into week 3. No pressure. Nick, you're leading off here with your pick of the week.
Pick of the week. For me and this board, you're looking at it, and it's a tough one this week. I was struggling. I've gone, through all of them, looking at it, where's my value? Who do I think? Going off of feel, I think for this one a little bit more. I'm going Patriots -3. They're playing the Saints. Famous Jameis. I think going into New England, dealing with a Bill Belichick coach defense, he's gonna confuse him. He's gonna throw different looks at him. He's gonna do different blitzes, coverages. I don't think he's gonna hold up. And like we said, with the coaches being out, I don't know who's going to be coming back. There's a little bit of turmoil in there. The Superdome was on fire. I think things are crazy down for New Orleans. I'm going New England -3.
Yes, sir. My pick of the week is the Raiders -4 over the Dolphins. When you look at that team, I told you I'm high on the Raiders. Derek Carr in his group, but Tua's out. He may have a rib injury. You just don't know what you're going to get down there in Miami. The Raiders are riding high. Can they do it again for a third week in a row? They've had 2 tough games back to back, but I have them -4 against the Miami Dolphins.
Orlando, you're up first here with your now upset of the week as we flip it around here.
Oh, I have the Bears getting 7 points against my Browns, right? Which is, I think it'll be a tight game. I think Justin Fields will come out and play. I know, Nick, you don't like that thing because I've been high on the Browns. Now, I do think the Bears, it'll be a closer game than 7 points. So I'm taking the Bears and the points. My guy, Justin Fields, will perform well, will come up just a little short, but I still have him getting under the line. So
betting on the Buckeye.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. My upset of the week, I'm not sold on San Fran right now. They are 2-0, but I don't know if it's a real one or not. So I'm taking the Packers +3.5. Aaron loves California. And so I think he's just going to have another lights out day. So I'm going Packers +3.5.
All right, let's do the over-unders. Interestingly, 55.5 is the big number this week. Seahawks and Vikings, the Rams and the Buccaneers, and the Chargers and the Chiefs are all sitting at 55.5. You can go any way you want, of course. But those 3 games are all sitting there. I thought that was interesting. Nick, go ahead.
All right, so the one I was looking at for the over-under, and I hate over-unders. I don't like them. I've never gotten one right. But I'm going with the Colts Titans are sitting at 48. I like the under. I think that number seems pretty high for those 2 teams. So I'm going to take the under 48 in the Colts Titans.
Yep. And for me, I'm going Tampa Rams. And I'm going with the under 55.5. I think everybody's going to be expecting an offensive shootout, but people fail to realize both of these teams have great defenses that can go out and stop. So I think it's going to be a great game. I just don't think it'll be a high scoring game. So I got them going under 55.5 points. All
right. We're going to move to College Corner. Let's hope best of luck to everybody out there making some money this weekend. And, of course, go to winbet.com for all your gambling spreads. Get yourself taken care of. College Corner team, we're looking at the SEC and we're looking at the Big Ten. And the question on the table for you 2 Big Ten loyal Ohio State Buckeyes, is the Big Ten actually deeper than the SEC? I mean, you've got Alabama, Georgia, and Texas A&M all up at the top of the SEC. But then if you look at the Big Ten, you got your Ohio State Buckeyes, you've got Iowa, you have all ranked Michigan State, Penn State, Michigan is ranked, and the Wisconsin Badgers are number 18. Seven Big Ten teams are in the top 25, 6 for the SEC. Anybody want to rep the Big Ten here? Orlando, are you going that way, or like no? This is a very, very big stretch of an argument.
No, and it is, but I got to be loyal to my conference in the Big Ten. Obviously, from top to bottom, I think we have this year we have 7 teams in the top 25. We have probably more team on the upper end of it. I think in the SEC they just got Bama, a couple other teams, and I know I'll probably get a lot of hate tweets from the SEC fan. But obviously they only have a couple of teams up top. Although Ohio State have dominated the Big Ten over the past few years, I still think we have more quality teams in our conference than the SEC.
Obviously, I'm a Big Ten guy too, so I'm going to go with the Big Ten. But I am intrigued by this college year with the way that Florida played Alabama. Kind of made Alabama look beatable. That this is a Wild West. Ohio State losing to Oregon early on. Michigan is rolling strong, but they haven't really played anybody yet. Penn State getting that win over Auburn. I feel like there's a lot of craziness going on in college football. And it's awesome because instead of just having, your top teams always being the same thing, I think we're going to see a lot of different great games, and it's going to be fun. But yes, of course, the Big Ten is the best conference, obviously.
Yep.
Good loyalty. Fantastic. Let's wrap up with big bites. Nick, if people are following you on Twitter, which if they're not doing, they're just not living their life correctly. You were all over the Jets tailgate last week, and I'm looking for best tailgate food, setups, anything that stood out. New York Jets. There's not a lot of football love going on here, but the tailgate that's all that can always be undefeated, right?
The tailgate has always been undefeated. You never lose a tailgate. No, it was awesome being out there. It's funny, after going through high school, college, NFL, it took me until I was done with the NFL to be able to attend a tailgate. And once I did, I absolutely fell in love with it. I loved all the foods that went into a tailgate, but then the whole experience of everyone being excited, of everyone, joining in, people just randomly walking by, hey, have a burger, have a dog, something like that. So it's cool community and everything. And we had a lot of fun. And so I think the best thing I had while I've been out tailgating the past 5 years, 4 or 5 years, it was awesome. It was the Jets were playing Buffalo, and this guy rolls out a portable pizza oven, and he's making buffalo chicken pizza right there in the parking lot, thin crust and everything. It was It was unbelievable. It was just not only the food, but also just the way that he did it. A portable pizza oven that's cooking at like 600 degrees in the middle of a parking lot was pretty awesome.
You know what? It's surprising, man. And tailgating. This is how as players we never tailgate, but once we retire, it's something that we would love to do. How sophisticated tailgating has become, man. People are out with wine and cheese and all these extravagant meals, and it's amazing the time that people put into tailgating. It's almost like the game is like a secondary to the tailgating. People put a lot of effort waking up at 4 or 5 in the morning to go out. I can remember I had a hot dog with like bacon, cheese, all these different toppings on it. It was like a heart attack on a bun, but it was phenomenal. So I don't tailgate nearly as much as I would love to, but the people that do and do it right, it's a fun experience. So,
Nick, you mentioned Buffalo, the whole table smashing thing in your prime. Would you ever?
No, I am not that stupid to go throw myself through a folding table. I at least can put the bar there. That's what I won't do.
You got to give the Bills fans their credit, though. They're hey, we'll risk life and limb for the team. That's some serious passion. All right, gentlemen, I think we've done it. Week 3, big man bets. Go to winbet.com. Right now, record-wise, Orlando is 3-1. Nick, you're 1-3. So we know how tough it is out there. This no head down. You got to believe in yourself.
We're coming back. We're coming back this week.
Long season indeed. All right, everybody, enjoy week 3. Thank you for checking out Big Men Bets with the Hall of Famer Orlando Pace and the 7-time Pro Bowler Nick Mangold.